Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the Sarpy County Board of Equalization meeting. It's Tuesday, April 12th, 2022, 3:01 p.m. A copy of the Nebraska Opens Meeting Act rules are on the north wall of the county boardroom. In attendance today, we have all 5 commissioners, Commissioner Burmeister, Klug, Mixon, Warren, and Kelly. We have our county administrator, Dan Hoins. We have our county clerk and register of deeds, Deb Houghtaling. Representing the treasurer's office today, we have Sue Johnson. And I think we saw Dan Pittman.
Dan.
Did I see Dan?
You don't need him.
Okay, so no assessor today. If you wouldn't mind, could you silence your cell phones? And let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Two items on the consent agenda today. Motion, please.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Warren, second by Klug. Discussion? Please vote.
Ayes 5, nays none, motion carries.
Okay, all agenda items having been addressed as published, the Board of Equalization is adjourned.
Give me 1 minute. Okay.
Okay, I'd like to welcome everybody to the Sarpy County Board of Commissioners meeting. It's April 12th, 2022 at 3:03 p.m. Nebraska Open Meeting rules are on the north wall. All 5 commissioners are present along with our county administrator and county clerk and register of deeds. The first thing we're going to do today is a proclamation and presentation, item 3.1. So we're going to proclaim April 10th through the 16th this week, 2022, as National Public Safety Telecommunications Week to honor the women and men in Sarpy County Emergency Communications Center whose diligence and professionalism keep our citizens and first responders safe. And I'm going to invite Bill. Is Bill? Do I see Bill? Oh, come on up. And please make a few comments, and then I'll read the proclamation into the record and do some presentations.
Sure, thank you. My name is Megan Pascal. I am the Training and Quality Assurance Coordinator, and as I said, I'm acting in Bill's absence. He will return to office tomorrow. I just want to say thank you, Commissioners, for allowing us to come up here and speak, and thank you for the proclamation. We all are very dedicated to our job and save, the citizens of Sarpy County and representing them. Today, along with the proclamation, we are presenting 7 life-saving awards. We provide life-saving measures over the phone to the citizens of Sarpy County for their loved ones who are in need. And today I actually have 3 of our dispatchers that I would like to present those awards to. We do have 7 total. They date back to November of 2021, all the way up until February, I think is the last one we have so far. We have a few more that we're reviewing, and again, we have 7 and I have 3 I'd like to hand out today, if that's okay.
Sure.
Okay. Let's see here.
Can we come down?
Absolutely.
Thanks.
If you want to flip
Ready?
there, you can face it like.
Okay. The first 2 I'd actually like to
You
present
pull the
together.
mic behind you.
That way?
There you go.
Thank you. The first 2 I'd actually like to present together as they worked as a team. We have approximately 7 dispatchers who are currently in our training program. I would like to present one to Nautica Geisler. Go ahead and come on up. And Teresa Smith. Teresa and Nautica were working together as a trainer. Teresa was the trainer and Nautica was the trainee at the time. There was a gentleman who called in advising that his girlfriend was found unresponsive and not breathing on the floor. And both Teresa and Nautica performed life-saving measures over the phone and worked as a team together to end up saving their life.
Congratulations, ladies. As nice as those are, there's nothing quite like a coin. Okay? Sarpy County Board, so congratulations.
Thank you.
Appreciate your service. Awesome job. Thank you. And we're going to get some pictures, but I think we have one more, right?
We have one more, yes.
So just hang tight, please.
And then the second one we're presenting today is for Dallas Keffer. She is a newer employee as well. She's been on the floor for, I believe, approximately 2 years. And she also took a life-saving award to a pair. It was a daughter and a son who called for their mother who had just collapsed on the floor and was also not breathing. So she took care of the life-saving measures, and they ended up saving her life.
Awesome. Congratulations.
Thankful for everybody.
I actually have some coins for, working in the 911 center's not for the weak, okay? I mean, it goes 24/7, 365 days a year. And so trying to get 7 people that work on the consoles here at one time is an impossible feat. They're probably either working or sleeping or preparing to work. So I do have coins for each of them, so I would trust you, please, Megan, to give this to me. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
And could I have a copy of that proclamation real quick? Oh, I got 2 now. So who wants to read this with me? No, I'm just kidding. Here you go. You can have that back. Please stand. I think this is a big deal. So I want you to stand, and we'll give honor to our 911 workers. This proclamation reads as follows. Whereas emergencies can occur at any time that require law enforcement, fire, or emergency medical services, and whereas when an emergency occurs, the prompt response of the sheriff, deputies, police officers, firefighters, paramedics is critical to the protection of life and the preservation of property, and whereas the safety of our first responders is dependent upon the quality and accuracy of the information obtained from the citizens who call or text our Sarpy County Emergency Communications Center, and whereas Public Safety Telecommunications are the first and most critical contact our citizens have with emergency services. And whereas public safety communicators are a vital link for law enforcement officers and firefighters by monitoring their activities by radio, providing them information and ensuring their safety. And whereas Public Safety Telecommunications and Sarpy County Emergency Communications Center have contributed substantially to the apprehension of criminals, suppression of fires, and treatment of patients. And whereas each dispatcher has exhibited compassion, understanding, and professionalism during their performance of their job in this past year, we, the Sarpy County Board of Commissioners, therefore declare the week of April 10th through the 16th, 2022 to be National Public Safety Telecommunications Week in Sarpy County, Nebraska, in honor of those men and women whose diligence and professionalism keep our citizens and first responders safe. Approved by this board, or will be shortly. And I tell you, it's simple thanks is never enough, right? But that's probably all you ever ask for, because you guys lay it on the line every day and work in hand in glove with our first responders, who we also deeply appreciate. One of the key reasons that people want to live in Sarpy County is because of our public safety and the way we take care of citizens when they're most in need. And that's on the other end of that line when they're calling you for emergency response. So on behalf of the Board of Commissioners, on behalf of everybody that works at Sarpy County or for Sarpy County and all of our citizens, our deepest gratitude and thanks for your service. Great job. We won't read a picture. No.
Okay, there you go.
Got a face planted. glasses. I embarrassed myself. Get out of the picture.
Don't go up there and face There wasn't too many edges. Oh, no, they didn't. Yeah, I saw that.
They just let it die.
They let, you know why?
Yeah, I know.
They know why.
I know, you know, we all know.
You know. That's a shame.
Okay, Commissioner Mixon, any comments today?
Yes. Was just thinking of everything that was said here, from the Pledge of Allegiance to all the thanks to all of our public safety people, and just the acknowledgement of living in this country and the freedoms we have. And what a perfect week for them. It's Holy Week. So I'm wishing everyone a happy Easter. And I thought I'd put my Easter colors on. So happy Easter, everyone.
Nice.
No comment. No comments. Excuse me, briefly, Mr. Chair, a couple of items. The fiscal year 22-23 budget is kicked off in earnest. Last week, the CFO's office met with all of the department heads, provided some instructions, some guidelines for the submissions over the next 60 days or so. We'll be gathering that data and giving it to you as it comes in with intermittent briefings. But they have those. And speaking of the CFO's office, we're continuing our musical office shuffle. I saw a cart in front of Bill Connolly's office this morning. He and his team are moving down to the west end of the building in the next couple of days. So if you come in looking for them, go further down the hall, looking for them. Same extensions and phone numbers, but all part of the transition to get people out of the annexes and bringing HR up here. And so those pieces are starting to move. So don't get too frustrated if they're not in their office. They're probably at work, just in a different place. So that concludes my report.
Thank you. Okay, do a little housekeeping here, and let's get a motion and approval of the proclamation of National Public Safety Week, item 3.1.
I don't need it.
We don't need it? How about 3.2?
They'll be noted. They'll be noted.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate that. Okay, consent agenda, 3 items.
Move to approve.
Second.
Okay, a motion by Commissioner Klug, a second by Commissioner Burmeister. Any discussion? Please vote.
Ayes 5, nays none, motion carries.
Okay, item 6.1 is a public hearing, possible vacation of portions of Meredith Street right-of-way. Application has temporarily been withdrawn, and the process will be postponed till after bird migratory season. Any other comments, Andrea, on that?
No, just my knowledge is that the intent is to bring this back around August. During migratory bird season, no trees can be removed, and there's some cleanup that needs to be done in the area before it can be vacated.
Okay, thank you.
Don, if I could, I know
Sure,
there's some people here
absolutely.
that are live in that area and have some concerns. Any discussion to follow other than, I guess, my concern is why would we be vacating anything in that area? There's potential growth that's going to happen. Why not leave? And if a developer comes along with a different plan for streets, that can be incorporated in at this point in time. But as soon as we give it up, then we're giving part of the problem to some other people that may not want the problem.
That's, my understanding is that that is the reason why it's being postponed, so that everything can be cleaned up. No one will be forced to take anything. If they don't want rights to the land, then we're not going to force anyone to take it. It will be a discussion with the adjacent landowners of how it will be divided up.
So why are we vacating it?
It hasn't been used. It was platted in, I want to say, 1887.
Right.
As a roadway, and it's never been developed.
Right. But it could be. I mean, at some point in time, somebody's going to come along and develop that. It's going to be an infill property. Why wouldn't we leave the roads intact that have been dedicated and then figure out at that point in time what to do with it instead of now? I just have a concern of, why we would give up what potentially at some point could be valuable ground.
As far as I know, it's not in any plans at this point, but this was a request that came from Public Works, and so I hate to defer it, but that would probably be a question for them as to why they would like to relinquish at this point.
Yeah, well, thank you. I mean, I apologize to the homeowners that might be here for that. I kind of I knew it wasn't going to, we weren't going to discuss it today because I had been informed that it was going to be delayed, and I did get some feedback from one of the local residents, and I passed on that information and was hoping that it would get the word out, but apparently it didn't. So Commissioner Warren brings up a lot of good points. We really haven't looked at the benefits or the disadvantages of doing that at all as a board collectively. So it'll be a discussion we can certainly have in August, and that'll also give us the whole summer to get feedback from the residents that would be impacted by it, and also meet with the county engineer to see what his desires are in regards to why they would want to vacate it. So we'll certainly make sure it's completely transparent.
Yeah.
And but just as in way of apology for the residents that came for a public hearing. Once it's published, right?
Yeah.
And so we really couldn't just pull it off.
So if there is anybody here that would like to speak, would that?
Yeah, that'd be
just open
fine.
it.
We could do that, certainly. We could certainly do that. Does anybody want to address the board? Okay, that's fine.
But your concerns are noted.
Yeah, and I personally, I think, and I shared them with Angie Burmeister. The comments I got were pretty thoughtful, and I thought they were really good inputs. So, I can't remember the lady's name, but she said she sort of spoke on behalf of the neighborhood. So I took that at face value. So I know there's some concern there, and so we'll definitely listen to that and make sure your inputs are known. Okay, thank you. So on 6.2, then we'll move on. That is another public hearing, and resolution 89, which is the issuance of educational facility revenue bonds for Bellevue University for the benefit of the university in a principal amount not to exceed $32 million pursuant to a trust indenture with proceeds of such bonds to be loaned to Bellevue University pursuant to the loan agreement. Well, there's a lot of words here. I think it'd be better if you just explain it, Bill.
There are a lot of words here. And I will let the expert Mike Rogers from Gilmore and Bill go through this with you and answer any questions. I would just offer a couple things. One is from my office, we support this. This is conduit debt. By you approving this, you're enabling Bellevue University access to tax-free bonds. This is very common. Douglas County, Lancaster County, and other counties do this. So it does not impact the credit rating or the credit of the county. The county is not an obligator, has no obligation on the debt that's about to be issued by Bellevue University. So I do fully support this. And with that, I will turn it over to Mike Rogers with Gilmore and Bell. And I know Dr. Mary Hawkins with Bellevue University, president of Bellevue University, is here as well. So, Mike.
Good afternoon. Mike Rogers with Gilmore and Bell, bond counsel for the county. So I'm here representing the county as the county's bond counsel for this transaction. Bellevue University has separate counsel representing them, as does UMB Bank, the lender on this. They have separate counsel as well. The resolution in front of you is a resolution to authorize issuance of bonds for the benefit of Bellevue University. As indicated, the bonds would be issued under a trust indenture and the proceeds immediately loaned to Bellevue University. The county in this instance is serving as a conduit issuer. It's a term that's used in the public finance arena as a way to describe what your function is. It's at this point in the financing process allowing Bellevue University access to tax-exempt interest One of the fundamental rules for any tax-exempt financing is that a governmental issuer needs to be involved. At times in the past, Bellevue University has used the city of Bellevue in this role. It's under the exact same statutes. The cities and counties in Nebraska have the power to issue conduit bonds under the same set of statutes. In the distant past, it was used by counties more for manufacturing facilities. Industrial development revenue bonds were much more frequently done before the 1986 code. So this set of statutes has been around for a long time and used for all kinds of different things by counties and cities around the state. The statutes give strong protection to the county in its role as issuer. It provides explicitly that the bonds shall not constitute nor give rise to a pecuniary liability of the county or a charge against its general credit or taxing powers. So there is no liability on the taxpayers for this. The only thing that the county is obligated to do is to turn over anything that Bellevue University pledges to the bond trustee, which all happens at closing. And then if there is a default by Bellevue University, the bondholders through the bond trustee can only go after those properties that have been pledged. In this case, there's no mortgage on the property. It's really only accounts that have been pledged for repayment of the obligations by Bellevue University. And that's the business deal or the lending arrangement that UMB Bank as bond purchaser and Bellevue University have agreed to, which is sort of not much of a concern for Bellevue or for Sarpy County. It's more of the lending arrangement between those two, because the credit for this transaction is Bellevue University's alone. Sarpy County's credit is not implicated at all. Bellevue University doesn't get any benefit by using Sarpy County over the city of Bellevue or any other conduit issuer. So that's a general rundown. The resolution approves a trust indenture. I have copies of those documents here. The trust indenture, loan agreement, tax compliance agreement. The tax compliance agreement, because these are tax exempt obligations, puts burdens on Bellevue University to make sure they follow the tax rules that are involved to maintain tax exempt status, so that the county won't have to continue to monitor those sorts of things throughout the life of this transaction. I'll stop there, see if there are any questions.
Questions for Mike?
Happy to answer.
Because I understand why the county is being used here, but part of me is also like, why would the county get involved? If it makes sense to give 501c3s tax exempt bonding, why doesn't everybody have access to? Why does it have to go through a government agency? And I think there's a bit of a fear that if we move forward with this, that there will be other agencies coming forward and asking for the same. And it just seems a bit odd that we're involved, but we're kind of not involved.
Right.
So.
I don't know what Congress thinks when they do things, but it's in the tax code. This requirement is in the tax code that the governmental issuer be involved in doing this debt financing. I don't know why. I think one of the reasons is this hearing that's being held right now is also required by the federal tax code, and it gives an opportunity for local residents to get up and speak out in favor or against a nonprofit project. So federal government doesn't really have much sense of what's happening on a local level, so it does give some more local input through a public hearing and through local issuer authorizing the transaction. So that might be one reason. I think another part of it was the federal government maintaining and holding on to the fundamental concept of only governmental bonds can be tax exempt, and so you have to go through a governmental entity if you're a nonprofit. That's one exception to the general rule. Sewer facilities sometimes can be, if there's privately owned sewer facilities, sometimes private roadways can be tax exempt, and there are a number of other exceptions. Affordable housing is another one that we've seen more frequently recently. So there are a number of exceptions, and this is just one of them. And this statutory framework under Nebraska law was designed to allow access for nonprofits and, before the 1986 code, much more frequently manufacturing facilities.
And does this introduce any risk to the county or its taxpayers in any way, shape, or form?
It does not. There have been defaults on conduit financings like this nationally. My firm practices in multiple states, and we serve as bond counsel on many conduit financings. And in my 20 years of practice, talking with other bond lawyers, I don't know of any instance where a conduit issuer has been implicated or has been called on to help cover any kind of cost with respect to a conduit financing. And that's just asking. I think the statutes provide strong protection. And there's only one purchaser of these bonds, and it's UMB Bank. They're a sophisticated purchaser of the bonds, of bonds. They do this sort of financing frequently. They know that their only recourse is against Bellevue University, so that it's not a public offering of bonds, so there won't be a bunch of bondholders around. It's just one purchaser, so that there's very strong protection for the county.
Thank you.
I think I'll add just one comment of the ask of why you would do this. And I think probably the intent of Congress was to also help the communities and help organizations within the communities that are good for the communities, that help the communities to have access in this way. And Bellevue University obviously is one of those. And so I think that's another piece of it. You're just not doling out money to anybody. I mean, we're looking at this and taking it seriously, and the risk and everything is fine. And with that, I mean, I would move to approve, because I feel like this is like the Easter Bunny's already arrived. I can issue debt and I don't have to pay for it.
So, is it public hearing? Any questions for Mike? Any at all?
And,
Okay. Yeah,
Dr.
so it's a public hearing?
Dr. Mary Hawkins is here too from
Yeah.
Bellevue University.
So, Dr. Hawkins, you're welcome to come up if you'd like. Welcome to the Sarpy County Board of Commissioners meeting.
My first. You're asking for money.
You'll be back soon, I'm sure.
Oh, no.
So thrilling.
It is. It's very exciting. I do appreciate Mr. Nixon's comments. We have traditionally gone through the city, but there are some requirements, regulations that the lawyer can explain. I'm not even going to go into that. I do want to thank you for the issuance of tax-free bonds to us, because it allows us to expand our university without the possible and potential expense could be up to $2 million over the life of the bonds that we're able to hold back and use towards the university. All of our revenue comes from student tuition and fees. We don't have other sources of revenue. So it enables us to, which we have done. If you look at the private colleges in Nebraska, we're the lowest tuition charge. We do not do the discounting game that some do, but very responsible. The reason we're asking for this is it's a good thing. We're part of Sarpy County. We've just about doubled our growth, our size since 2017, 18. Excuse me, a little bit of a cold here, but I have got only a few limited ways to handle some of our growth. Although a lot of it is coming online, that requires librarians and tutors and student services people and advisors and so forth. And so on the campus, what this bond will allow us to do is the only place I can expand on lower campus is to take the current gym and reuse that for other purposes. We've got a major stormwater drainage going through the green space in the campus, and all of you know how difficult it is to try to work through those issues. So that space is just not buildable. Tearing down a building and building new isn't very cost effective. But while this looks like it's a gym, and it is, we're building a new gym, but it's so I can grab hold of that gym and expand library, student services, some faculty collaboration rooms, and some other spaces within the range of where students are and are working. And so, well, honestly, I don't know, Gary, if you ever got to any of the games, but our gym is pretty pitiful. So the athletes and the coaches are absolutely thrilled that I have to take their gym because it gives them this huge benefit. But the university is a strong part of Sarpy County. We're growing in leaps and bounds, and a lot serving employers and others in the county and in the state. So we are very appreciative of your consideration of this fund. I hope you will approve it. The other thing that I will say, we're probably the most financially stable institution, not in Nebraska, but in the country. Our income statement, balance sheets, our endowments are very strong. If I needed to, I could pull those. There's not a problem. But I have a board of entrepreneurs who like to see us continue to use that money to develop endowment for scholarships and faculty and use our proceeds on tuition revenue to pay off these projects. So it is truthfully a risk-free, we would never default on a loan. That would not be a problem, or hasn't been. We finished our last bond in about 2018 very easily, successfully, and built on campus. But I think all of you have been down there, and I welcome you to visit the campus. We've grown tremendously in the 26 years I've been there, which is a bit of time. I also have Ken Birdsong, our CFO. So if there are any questions about the financial situation of Bellevue, which actually won't affect you, but it is good for you to know that this isn't a risk, even to UMB. UMB actually was calling us about, when's your next project coming? Because we're pretty secure on that way. But I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Questions for Dr. Hawkins? Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else want to address the board? Okay, then I'm going to close the, okay, come on up.
Just say my name and address, or
Yes,
first time, sorry.
that's fine. Don't be nervous.
Okay. Matt Lawrence, 7421 South 53rd Street. Found out about this today, whatever, but so I might be a little confused on some of the details, but the bank has $32 million that it is willing to loan out, sounds like, with your approval. I'm wondering what the opportunity cost is to somebody else in the community, like businesses or private sector, that might want to compete for this $32 million that might be used in a different way. And this permitting this bond, if that makes them more competitive and takes the money away from something that could be potentially more productive.
No, that's a good question. I think I know the answer, but I'm not an expert, so I'll let Mike Rogers answer it.
Thank you.
Thanks for the question.
Mike Rogers with Gilmore and Bell. So the answer is that the bank makes credit decisions based on its own metrics, based on the creditworthiness of whoever the borrower is. In this case, they made the decision based on Bellevue University's creditworthiness, and their loan portfolio and decisions on who they loan money to isn't impacted by the county board's decision today. The only thing that it affects here is the interest rate. So the county board taking action here, because it is a 501c3 entity, allows the 501c3 to borrow at a lower interest rate, and if the county board weren't to approve it, it would just cost Bellevue University more in interest that they would have to pay on the loan. That's what Dr. Hawkins was referring to when she mentioned that over the course of the life of the loan, it could mean a savings of almost $2 million because of that interest rate differential. And they are able to obtain that because they're a 501c3 enterprise, and under the federal tax code, that gives them the ability to access tax-exempt interest if you are willing to approve the resolution today. But it's not a competitive thing between how the bank decides to loan money to different people. That's the bank's business decision on who they make loans to.
And I think the other part of the question was, there are more restrictions in the code than just a 501c3, correct?
There are a number of requirements that have to be met in addition to being a 501c3 entity. It can only be used for capital construction, and they have to meet compliance rules ongoing throughout the life of the financing.
Okay, thank you.
And so, Mike, what you're saying is that the county board is not making the decision whether or not this loan is given.
Right.
That's, and whether it's to Bellevue University or someone else, that's not the county board's decision, that's UMB Bank's decision, right?
That's correct.
Okay, thank you. Did you get your question answered?
More or less. I think my question, I think, doesn't apply maybe, so, because the bank's going to loan this money out anyway, sounds like.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Well, another comment, though, I think it's also a part of credit worthiness, very much so, because they wouldn't be before us to ask us this. And as you heard Dr. Hawkins talk about their balance sheet and their financial statement, the bank is comfortable with this because of the strength of their balance sheet and financial statement. Just like anybody else in the whole scheme of bank financing or bank loans and approvals, it's all based on credit worthiness, assets, et cetera. That never changes. Banks aren't in the market to look for risky loans, although they make them sometimes, but at a higher interest rate. So there's a lot that goes into it that really makes this a pass-through that allows them to save $2 million to put it back in to the use that they're creating for their students, et cetera. So I hope that helps as well.
Would anybody else like to address the board? Okay, then I'll close the public hearing and I'll make the motion to,
I already did.
oh, you did?
Yep,
Did we get a second?
not yet.
Okay, I'll second it.
Somebody took my move unless I hit it.
Okay.
Or
So I
I'll
have a
second.
motion by Commissioner Warren and a second by Commissioner Kelly on Resolution 89.
Wait a minute, Commissioner Warren or Commissioner Mixon?
No, I'm sorry, Commissioner Mixon. Did I say Warren?
You did, so wait a minute now. Gary, are you,
I don't know what
Seconded?
happened to the move.
pardon me?
I don't know what, it's on second now. Did I hit it?
Don moved.
Yeah, but I could, I'll
Oh,
swap it. I'll
Okay,
swap
you'll
it.
fix it.
Before we vote, I just, one quick comment. You know, it's pretty rare we find win-win kind of opportunities in politics. So, I mean, this is a huge win for Bellevue University. I have been in that gym. One of my classmates is, I think, the all-time leading scorer in Bellevue University history, and he's taken me to several games out there. And it's hard to believe that such high-caliber athletes are playing in such a small gym. So if we can repurpose that to better use, that's all the better. But more importantly than sports, really, is the fact that the people that work at Bellevue University contribute to the tax base of Sarpy County. They pay property tax on their houses, they pay sales tax at businesses, and they help grow our economy. So, I mean, this one's a clean kill for me, certainly, and I think for the taxpayers of Sarpy County. So congratulations. I hope this vote goes your way. Please vote.
Ayes 5, nays none, motion carries.
Thank you. Okay, we'll move on to Resolution 92, which is Agenda Item 6.3. It's an interlocal agreement with R&R, for R&R Commerce Park South for road improvements, about 156th Street, just south of 370. Scott Bovick, Deputy County Administrator.
Thank you, Commissioner. R&R Commerce Park South is developing a warehouse development on the property you see labeled as Phase 1 and Phase 2. They're actually looking at 1.3 million square feet of warehouse space. A couple months ago, there was an article in the World Herald talking about R&R and the projects they've done. And if you look in the top right-hand corner of this map, there's 4 warehouses in place there. And that was their first development in According to the newspaper article, they were seeing so much growth that they felt it was necessary to come to another property and continue that development. In this area, to kind of remind the board of how this development starts to occur, you'll remember years ago when the Travelers Data Center and the Oxbow development came in. Travelers is right here and Oxbow is there. At that time, in order to facilitate that development, the county improved Schramm Road, and the county installed 2 sewer systems. You can see the what we call the Travelers sewer line, and what we call the Southern Ridge sewer line. And when we installed the road and installed that sanitary sewer system, we just saw growth occur out there. And the property to the north there that's being developed is the Google property. The properties to the south is the first Facebook property, and then there's some other properties in there as well. And so with this interlocal agreement, we're starting to pioneer 156th Street south of Schramm Road. That's going to be a critical corridor to this area. The yellow area on your map is what is currently served by sanitary sewer. The pink is what will be opened once the sewer agency has their force main in and builds another outfall there. So we're predicting tremendous continued growth in that area. With this project specifically, phase 1 will be constructed this year. R&R Development, or R&R Commerce Park South SID has agreed to pay for 1 lane and also pay to urbanize the roadway. We think that's important to get started. The county will be responsible for 1 lane in this area, and then in the future, the property to the west will be responsible to come in and add a 3rd lane. The county's estimated cost is about $570,000 on this project. The SID's cost is about $890,000, and the county would pay the SID once the project's completed, likely at the end of this year. The next item that you have on your agenda, Nicole worked with Pat Sullivan, who represents the R&R Commerce South, and that is a wastewater connection agreement. And so this development will be the last development that will be able to connect to the green line that runs south there. After that, we'll have to wait for the agency's line to be in place. But the county will collect the connection fees, and then we will remit that to the agency, and then they will use that to continue to build and maintain their system. With that, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Questions?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, a motion by Warren, a second by Klug. Discussion? Please vote.
Ayes 5, nays none, motion carries.
Okay, the last item on the agenda is Resolution 91. It's a wastewater connection and service agreement with SID 358, R&R Commerce Park, South Lots 1, 2, and 3, Outlots A and B. Nicole Spitzenberger, Deputy County Attorney.
Hi, Commissioners. Scott did a great job summarizing everything related to the roads and also the sewer agreement. So do you have any questions?
Nothing abnormal out of this agreement than a traditional agreement?
The only abnormal thing is we are limiting the gallons per minute to these lots that are being platted. So they'll have to wait for phase 2. We'll have to come when the agency's on board. So.
And I'm dying to ask the question, what's Sarpy going to do with another 1.4 million of warehouse space?
Fill it.
It's to store Gary's classic car collection.
Oh, boy.
I don't know. It's a lot.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Warren and
Zach
second.
wants to speak if you can.
Just address the board.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Thank you.
Mr. Sullivan.
I was a little abnormal through the process too, so. The demand on this is incredible. So we can't get the buildings put up faster than they're getting rented. I just wanted to get up for a minute, and I can't say enough for how, what a joy actually it was working with Nicole and Scott, and in fact, Public Works and everything else. We pushed pretty hard to get this project moving. There's a hard demand. I've always said a government can be either a facilitator or an inhibitor. In this instance, they were absolutely facilitators. We're bringing a good project, and I think everybody wins in this. But they just did an incredible job on, we were in a hurry, so they got in a hurry, and I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Any other comments?
The only comment is on the collectible car collection. If you know me, a car is a depreciable asset, so I don't collect too many of those.
Please vote.
Ayes 5, nays none, motion carries.
Okay, executive session, item 7.1.
For the protection of the public interest, I move we go into the executive session to discuss security measures.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion by Burmeister, a second by Klug to go into executive session. Discussion? Please vote.
Ayes 5, nays none, motion carries.
Okay, it's now 3:47. We're going to go into executive session where our discussion will be restricted to security measures.